I thank the member for Canberra. Question is that the bill be now read a second time. I call the minister.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. I'm very pleased to rise to deliver these summing up remarks in the second reading debate in relation to the Territories Legislation Amendment Bill 2016 and the Passenger Movement Charge Amendment Norfolk Island Bill 2016. Let me thank members who have participated in this debate. I thank the member for Lingiari, who's had a long involvement with Australia's external territories, including serving himself as Minister for Territories, and who has been a strong supporter of reform on Norfolk Island. I thank the member for Canberra, who has represented a number of constituents on Norfolk Island in this parliament, as we have just heard, and has taken a broad view of her responsibilities to be an advocate for the people of Norfolk Island, and she has worked effectively as an advocate for members of the community. Norfolk Island will become formally part of her electorate of Canberra on the commencement of the provisions of the bill before the House this afternoon. I also want to acknowledge the work of all members of the Joint Standing Committee on the National Capital and External Territories, and particularly its chair, the member for Cowan. And I want to acknowledge the work of Senator for the ACT, Zed Seselja. Prior to the introduction of these bills, I had the opportunity as Minister to visit Norfolk Island on the 28th and 29th of January, and that was a very worthwhile and informative visit. I had the chance to meet with members of the Advisory Council under the leadership of Melissa Ward, and I thank her and all members of the Council for their work. I met with the Administrator, the Honourable Gary Hargrave, with officials of the Commonwealth Government and of the administration of Norfolk Island. I met with the Council of Elders, I met representatives of the business community, particularly the tourism sector, and I had the opportunity to meet quite a number of Norfolk Island residents. Mr Deputy Speaker, the package of bills before the House this afternoon is another step towards the Turnbull Government meeting its commitment to provide reform in relation to Norfolk Island. Norfolk Island is the only community in Australia that has been routinely excluded from national laws, frameworks and programs. Successive governments of both political persuasions have taken this approach, under the belief that self-government, established on Norfolk Island in 1979, would be able to provide the community with appropriate federal, state and local functions. This is no longer a reasonable approach to take. The standard of government expected by Australians in 2016 is much different to that of 1979. Regulation has become more sophisticated to keep up with modern life. Government services have become more complex and difficult to deliver. Mr Deputy Speaker, a community of some 1,500 people cannot be expected to meet these challenges on its own. Norfolk Island is falling behind mainland standards, and the gap between the standard of services on Norfolk Island and those in comparable communities on the Australian mainland has been growing. The reforms given effect to by the bills before the House this afternoon, combined with the reforms set out in the legislation already passed by the Parliament in 2015, will begin to address these problems. The central proposition in the bills before the House this afternoon is that Commonwealth laws should apply to Norfolk Island as they would to any other part of Australia. Where Commonwealth laws are excluded from applying to Norfolk Island, that should occur only because the Commonwealth Government has made a conscious policy decision to exclude them. In some cases, Mr Deputy Speaker, this decision in respect of a particular law will have important consequences for the Norfolk Island community. For example, the Fair Work Act will be extended to provide employers and employees on Norfolk Island with the same workplace relations framework as applies throughout the rest of Australia. The national minimum wage will be phased in, and the introduction of modern awards will be delayed for 2 years on Norfolk Island so that businesses have time to adjust. Employees will have the same protections as are currently enjoyed by their counterparts on the mainland. In other cases, the changes will be minor. For example, the Territories Bill will extend the Gene Technology Act 2000 and the jurisdiction of the Gene Technology Regulator to Norfolk Island. Though this may seem to be a minor change, there is simply no good reason to exclude Norfolk Island residents from the operation of that legislative framework. Importantly, in addition to applying Commonwealth laws, the Territories Bill will ensure the Norfolk Island community is properly represented in the Commonwealth Parliament, giving Australians living on Norfolk Island a say in how the laws which affect them are made. Enrolment and voting in federal elections will be compulsory, as it is for other Australians. Norfolk Islanders will vote in the division of Canberra and will be represented by ACT senators. The ultimate outcome of these changes is that Australian citizens on Norfolk Island will have the same rights and responsibilities as those in other parts of Australia. The standard of federal services delivered on Norfolk Island will improve, and Commonwealth laws will provide an environment which encourages private investment, trade with the mainland, and opportunities for economic growth. The Australian Government's goal continues to be ensuring a strong future for Norfolk Island, a future providing opportunities for jobs and growth, support for vulnerable residents, and fostering a strong and vibrant community. The bills before the House this afternoon, if passed, will represent another step in that direction.
I thank the Minister. Question is that this bill be now read a second time. All those opinions say aye. To the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The Clerk.
Second reading, a bill for an act to amend the law relating to territories and for related purposes.
I have received a message from His Excellency the Governor-General recommending in accordance with Section 56 of the Constitution an appropriation for the purposes of this bill. Is leave granted for the third reading to be moved immediately? The Member for Isaacs? Thank the Member for Isaacs. The Minister.
I move that this bill be now read a third time.
Question is that this bill be now read a third time. All those that opinion say aye. To the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The Clerk.
Reading, a bill for an act to amend the law relating to territories and for related purposes.
Is leave granted for the Clerk.
Government business, order of the day number 3, passenger movement charge amendment, Norfolk Island Bill 2016, resumption of debate on the second reading.
Question is that this bill be now read a second time. All those opinions say aye. Contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The Clerk.
Second reading, a bill for an act to amend the Passenger Movement Charge Act 1978 and for related purposes.
Is leave granted for the third reading to be moved immediately? Leave is granted. Thank the Member for Isaacs. The Minister.
I move that this bill be now read a third time.
Question is, this bill be now read a third time. All those that opinion say aye. To the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The Clerk.
Third reading, a bill for an act to amend the Passenger Movement Charge Act 1978 and for related purposes.
The Clerk.